the basic tool of Tajweed Part 1. The first basic tool which we are going to study today is Fatha. Fatha. Then comes Kasra. Kasra. Then Dhamma. Dhamma. These are the three basic tools which helps to sound the letter clearly. And what do you mean by Fatha? Fatha always comes at the top of the letter, and this is the sign of Fatha. Then what is the sign of Kasra? This is the sign of Kasra. And what is the sign of Dhamma? This basically is the sign of Dhamma. Then let's study what do you mean by Fatha, what do you mean by Kasra, and what do you mean by Dhamma. Fatha, the sound of Fatha will be A. A. What do you mean by A? On any letter, if you are adding a slight sound of A, you are basically sounding Fatha. Then, what about the sound of Kasra? E. E. Don't elongate it too much. E. E. Then comes U. U. The sound of Dhamma is U. So, the sound of Fatha is A. The sound of Dhamma, Kasra is E. And the sound of Dhamma is U. So, A, E, U. A, E, U. Then, what is needed to know? To pronounce letter A, the mouth should open to pronounce this vowel. Then, what about for Kasra? The lower jaw should be lowered to pronounce this vowel. And what about for Dhamma? The lips should be circled to pronounce this vowel letter. So, let's repeat once again. For Fatha, which has the sound A, the mouth should open to pronounce this letter. For Kasra, which has a sound of E, the lower jaw should be lowered to pronounce this letter. And for Dhamma, which has a sound of U, the lips should be circled to pronounce this vowel. Then, what about this Fatha? Where do it appears? Fatha appears always above the letter. Kasra appears always below the letter. And Dhamma always appears above the letter. So, what did we got to know? These three are basic vowels of Arabic letters. Basic vowels of Arabic letters. How many vowels are there? There are only 3 vowels. The primary ones. Fatha, Kasra, Dhamma. Fatha, Kasra, Dhamma. Then, what do you mean by Fatha? Fatha carries a sound A, Kasra has a sound E, and Dhamma has a sound U. What should we do to pronounce these letters? The mouth should open to pronounce letter with a Fatha like A. The mouth, yani the lower jaw, should be lowered to pronounce this letter E with a Kasra. And to pronounce Dhamma, the lips should be circled. Oo, oo. The most important thing to remember and to identify whether the vowel is fatha or kasra or dhamma. Whenever you see a slanting line above the letter, it is fatha. And when you see a slanting line below the letter, then you can consider it as kasra. And if you see a wow-shaped letter above the letter, yani a wow-shaped vowel above the letter, you can consider it as dhamma. So this completes the basic vowels, fatha, kasra, dhamma. Hope you got it. Let's practice some letters with fatha, kasra and dhamma. Let's begin with fatha, kasra and dhamma. Here, hamza, fatha,